not late. Made
Yeah,
it in time.
Jacob Wilson, he'll be late. I already got the text message, so it's all good.
No, no.
But
Okay.
yeah, this is my wife, Stephanie. She's a figure pro.
Hi. No, I know who you guys are. Both are. You're awesome. You look great.
Appreciate that. This is my good buddy, Eric. He's a big time coach.
Hey, Eric.
Nice to meet you.
I've seen you before too. Have I just seen you on Instagram? Do I follow you? I got to figure this out.
I was social media famous for a hot little bit, but I'm at all the shows. I was just at the Toronto Pro.
Oh, okay. Okay. What's your Instagram? I gotta make
Everyone,
sure I
everyone knows
find
my
you.
logo.
Okay, let me see your. Let me find your logo then. What are you on Instagram?
Lore Fitness, LORE underscore fitness underscore official.
Underscore fitness. You got a good radio voice too.
I try. It
Yeah.
makes up for my radio face.
Yeah, yeah. And that's my joke. Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool, man. Awesome. Good to have you.
Now I was talking to Chris the other day, and I was like, oh my God, it feels like I'm back in the day, like I'm in my one bedroom apartment with an empty box being used as a table, being broke as shit, watching you guys on YouTube before I hit the gym. I'm like, this is it, man.
Oh
Now,
no.
now,
Those
now I'm bald and broke.
those are the memories.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Some of the best ones though, you know.
Always good times.
Early
Always.
broke bodybuilder memories, whatever they are, they're always good.
Yeah, you spent twice your rent on all the meat that you ate and called it a
Oh
day.
yeah. And rent was only $400 a month. That's what I
My
remember.
Costco trips are more than 400 bucks.
Yeah, I was joking the other day with what bodybuilding used to cost, and we thought it was expensive then. But I remember like paying, like me and my friend paying $400 a month rent, like for a decent apartment. Like we lived in a good area of town, and like you go to Costco, it'd be like $150 for all your food. For that was like over a week's worth of food, and now it's like
Those days are long gone.
what's $150 now? You just go pick up like one bag of, oh, I need a few things, right? You grab almond milk and egg whites and coffee, and you're like $150. So yeah, man.
What
What's up,
up?
Dusty? How you doing, buddy?
Not bad. I
Oh,
just set up the
Dusty has
Zoom
arrived.
Great, man.
I
from
didn't even
one meeting.
realize Dusty was going to be on this until I looked at like because we talked about me coming on, and then I looked at the thing. I'm like, wait a minute, Dusty's on this too. So I
It's
messaged
a
him.
buy one, get one.
That's good. That's
There we
good.
go. Well, yeah,
That's
we'll
good.
get it rolling. We really appreciate you guys coming on. I mean, for the record, I kind of like what Eric was saying. Like, you guys for sure, my number one podcast. I probably have honestly seen every single episode.
Oh wow, I don't
Yeah.
remember so many of
So
them. It's so
what
funny.
what that means by default is that she's seen every episode.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. I
Sorry about the
laugh.
early ones.
Yeah.
That's
I laugh that other people's wives um are forced to watch my
awful for
show.
them. Yeah.
And my wife has not ever watched my show. She's like,
Hilarious.
I get enough of you. I can hear it in the other room.
Exactly.
You know? So
Well, here we are again. This is the Crushing Limits Unleashed podcast. We have some really special guests from the This is Bodybuilding podcast. Of course, Ron Partlow, Dusty Hanshaw. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for
good to
having
have
us.
you. Good to have us.
Yeah.
Good to have you. Look at he's still hosting.
Yeah, good to have
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. Of course, we have Stephanie Santamaria, my wife, Coach Eric, and then we got Jacob Wilson coming on shortly here too. So, but yeah,
Ooh,
let's,
Try to get
Real
a
quick.
try to get a
yes.
word in edgewise.
Well, I wanted
we
to
were-
chime in real quick. Uh, Chris, I don't know if you know this, but my wife works for a large Canadian company. So if Ron ever says anything that you're not aware of, I can translate for you.
Yeah.
Ah,
From
There is-
space, apparently.
there is a bit of lingo. Yes.
Fair. Well, yeah, we're gonna dive right into it. Ron, I kind of like what you were saying just about like the evolution of bodybuilding. I know you guys talk about that a lot. We talk about it a lot on our podcast. But let's go back to some of those stories where it's your first prep, some of the crazy shit that you did, the things that you could change. We'll pretty much dive right into it.
Yeah, well, I was just yeah, I mean, Eric made a joke about, I don't know, I don't even remember what the joke was he made, Eric, something about things being expensive. And then I
Oh,
joke,
just being broke in your one bedroom apartments.
yeah,
Like,
oh yeah, yeah, you said, you remind me of when I was getting ready to go to the gym back in the day in my
yeah,
one bedroom apartment with my cardboard box as a table.
I had a cardboard box flipped upside down to put a sheet over it so it didn't look too janky, and
Nice.
that,
I,
that was my end table.
I don't know. I think every real bodybuilder, I don't know, there's something about a real like a bodybuilder who didn't have a broke bodybuilder phase. I'm like, I don't know about you.
You're not
I
one of
don't,
us.
you're not totally legit. Like if they had it a little too easy through the early days, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a card missing. Did you like, I was working at the bar, like working at a department store, like, you know, young 20 something, just living in in an apartment with my best buddy, like eating boxes of cereal and cans of tuna and just like the whole like early bodybuilding thing that, all of us did back then where you're like, I got 20 bucks. What I do? What do I do with 20 bucks?
Yep.
Like should I spend it on food or, can I get one amp of Sustanon? I don't know. It was it was those early days, and so like I I I feel bad for the young bodybuilders now who are not going through that phase. I don't know. They're getting, I don't know. There's something missing. Like I slept on an air mattress on the floor for like 6 months at one point. That was how I lived,
Jeez.
right? And I just like thought it was fine because I had protein powder and I was training at a really great gym, and I'd put up the 150s on the incline the other day. So like, like back in like thinking like that, like I didn't care I didn't have a bed. Like I'd get one later, but I did the 150s on the incline the other day. Like that was like it was all about that. It was just, yeah, it's good times.
Yeah.
I had one pan, one pot, and I used the same fork and knife every day. I just watched it because I was the only person there.
Yeah, totally. You got your big bowl that you eat every meal out of. I think
The,
every
the rice and
roommate,
the ground beef mixed together.
yeah,
Yeah.
or ice cream and cookies. Like
That bowl does it all.
that bowl does it all, right? And I think every roommate I ever had, because I lived with friends. I lived with a lot of friends who knew what I was doing because they were my friends. So they weren't like strangers who were oblivious, but they still were like, man, I got a lot of people over the years that I lived with back in those days. They'd say, man, that's just all you need, isn't it? That bowl. Like there'd be like a comment like that somewhere in there,
Yep.
Like that's all you brought. You brought your bowl and your fork and your George Foreman grill, and now you're moved in. I'm like, yeah, I'll leave you alone. I'll be out of your way.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know. I think now like Dusty's worse at buying things, well, better at buying things than I am. He has no problem spending money on nice stuff. But I'm a terrible shopper, and I think that I'm a bad consumer because I was a broke bodybuilder when I was young. And so like if as long as I just had my bases covered, I was like happy. It didn't even occur to me to have to spend any money, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes Dusty has to remind me, like, you can buy that. I'm like, oh, I can. I should fix that problem then, because I'm too slow to spend my money because I'm used to, those old days.
Well, it's funny though, because the old days stick. Like the last place I lived in before I moved here with Nikki, I lived alone and I had full sets of everything, but the rules still applied. I had one plate that I used, my favorite. Everyone has their favorite pan, their favorite fork. Like it's funny, but I had a fork that I accidentally commandeered from a yard house. It's a little bigger. And I had a whole set of forks that never got touched because I just used that one. And it's like literally you finish a meal, you eat, you wash the plate, you put it on the drying rack, and when it's time to eat again, you just take it
Yeah,
back from there again.
yeah,
And at the end of the night, I would put it all away so the counter was perfectly clean. But I had a set for 8 people. I was like, I don't even know 8 people.
yeah, yeah. Keeps life simple.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You guys will love this too. Dusty, I know just listening to you, you'll resonate with this. So, like you said, Ron, like you're apartment shopping. I live with a bunch of dudes, and all we did was bodybuilding. It was literally just a bodybuilding house.
Yeah.
We all did the same shit. And like it's funny because I'm still like this to this day, and she knows how crazy it is. But when we were like apartment shopping or looking for these houses, I would make sure it's got like the best possible lighting for my check-in pictures.
Right. It's a
You know,
shittier house, but this lighting over here by the window is
it's
Yeah.
perfect. And then like you used to do, Dusty, like we would take our pictures on Saturday morning. We'd rush down to the CVS and get the 1 hour rush print, and then we'd go back and analyze them all and
perfect.
make the adjustments.
It's an expensive time in hindsight.
Yeah. What's
I
up?
remember rushing to get photos while I was prepping for shows, and like we'd take photos at the gym, like on Saturday, and go get them developed at 1 hour photo, and then I would mail them to my coach on Monday morning,
Mhm.
right? Like old school. And then he
Jake's in
just,
the house.
you know, hey
Yeah,
Jacob,
sorry
what's going on?
guys. Shit's been a little crazy today. We got a new horse.
Oh,
So yeah.
They don't have those in Ron's condo complex.
man. Yeah, no horses.
It's actually a therapy horse. It was a company on the outskirts of Houston that has it's like therapy horses, if you will, and they do a lot
Yeah.
of stuff with veterans and things like that. Um, and this is like a I want to say it's like a Brazilian, I think maybe Brazilian or South American type horse. Is beautiful. She's white. She was like a polo champion horse. And then this company got her and they did a lot more training with her. So people go to this place and you can ride them in like an arena. And some of it's just like really basic stuff. Like some people go there with like different type of medical issues and whether it's mental or physical. And they like pet these horses. They walk them on with a halter and whatnot. So we just got her. They just delivered her this morning. It just took a little while to get set up and kind of put me behind on my day. So I apologize. But yeah, we got a lot
Oh,
of animals. Got a baby buffalo now. Chris, I
that
don't
sounds
think the
awesome.
buffalo. Yeah, the
Yeah.
buffalo wasn't born when you guys were here, Chris, but it was born
No.
shortly after. I think like the weekend, maybe after y'all left.
Okay.
Might have been the weekend after. So I had on the same day, I had a new baby calf, two new baby goats, and a baby buffalo all on the same day.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Dr. Jake
So
was doing it.
Yeah.
man, well, I wasn't really doing it. Those animals were actually doing it. I was just I was
I
actually here to pick up the mess, man.
I helped deliver a calf once on the farm.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
my friend's farm. I was over at my friend's house one day and his dad come in and was like, "Boys, I need your help." And I was from a farm, but we were a grain farm, and I was like, "Oh, I'll go help him." And we
Yeah,
go out
right.
the barn, and I was just like, wake up, like, "Here's your lesson for today, farm kid."
Right.
And I was like pulling the legs of a calf out of a cow, like pulling as hard as I could with
Fully.
my foot up on the post, like pulling.
Wow.
And we couldn't get the calf out. And the farmer was like, "Oh, well, I guess we're gonna have to grab the chains." And I'm just like I'm a farm kid, but we didn't have cattle when I was growing up. Like my dad had gotten rid of them, so I didn't go through any of this. So I'm like 13 at this point, and I'm like, chains? What do you mean?
What do we do with
Yeah.
chains?
And
It's
he
time to
grabs the
pull.
chains and he puts them around the feet of the calf. Like puts like some leather around first and then puts the chains around. And then he runs them around a post and puts a crank on it.
Wow.
And so like my job was to crank. I'm cranking on this chain, crank as hard as I could, pushing with my foot, crank. And we pulled the calf out. And I was just like, people who don't go through that, kids have never been on a farm or anything. That's just like a whole nother experience seeing that. Like, because most people have no idea what that means.
I know. I know.
Yeah. But Jacob out there,
Yeah,
Well, hey,
he's doing
listen,
this.
listen. I really have a great quick story. I just literally had my 25-year high school reunion a couple weeks ago. And I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I was sent them some photos of the animals from the ranch. And one of my friends was like, "Hey, man, I just want you to know he lived in my neighborhood growing up. And so my dad bought an acre of land behind our house. And anytime we had a cow that was maybe going to calf, he would bring her home and
Oh
she would
God.
roam around in the pasture. And everyone's backyard, like, looked into this field. And so one morning, my dad wakes me up. He's like, "Hey, she's having that calf. Let's get her." So we're outside and we're hooting and hollering, pulling. Can't get the calf out. My dad's like, "Hang on." He went and got the four-wheeler. We tied on a rope to the
Oh,
calves on the four-wheeler. My dad took off and he was dragging the cow until the calf came out. And my buddy goes, in the text, he's like, "I'm never going to forget that morning you and your dad were in the backyard using a four-wheeler to pull out a calf. I'm still traumatized."
yeah.
Like, we got it
It's
out. We had to get it out, man. Like, you just do what you got
no.
to do, you know?
People
It
think they
is what it
just come
is.
out on their own.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's it.
All that
That's
work
it.
for my
You
steak.
gotta come visit, Ron. You and Dusty come visit, man.
No, hey man, I want to come see this horse.
He's got
I
it
got
all.
four of them now.
Oh man, okay. That's a good life. That's a good life.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's
It's a
part
lot,
of in
man.
bodybuilding. That's why we got you to remember bodybuilding just warmed you up for this life.
Man, I'm telling you, and I think I've told Chris and Stephanie this, like, especially being out here in this heat, I'm not gonna lie. Dropping 20 something pounds in 6 hours is a cakewalk compared to the shit I do now.
Yeah.
I don't know if he remembers that 26 pounds as vividly as I do, since I was alive for it. This is a bodybuilding story, so I can drop it in here. Jake has to bowl 26 pounds. I come into town. We're meeting. Where were we? Dallas? Yeah, Dallas.
Hmm.
And I mean, he's doing it all. The hot baths with the mint. What's that shit?
The wintergreen
The
alcohol and the
wintergreen
Epsom salt.
alcohol. We're pulling his water out. We get down to weigh-ins, and I basically get Jake into weigh-ins, like just short of carrying him. I sit him down on the ground. Now, mind you, he's got to make 212. And I mean, he was, what were you, 230 that day? So
Yeah,
we get
pretty
him
much.
down, and the expert goes, "All right, we're gonna have the figure girls weigh in next." I go, "Hey," and he looks at me. I go, and he sees Jake on the ground. He goes, "We're gonna do the 212s." I like basically bring him up to the scale, step back so I'm not a part of it. He makes weight. We pull him off, put him back on the ground. I hand him two Gatorades. I'm like, "Start drinking." He drinks two of them before we even move. I'm like, "Okay, he didn't die. Now we can win the show."
Yeah,
Dusty, he sent
close.
me
Maybe not
pictures
winning.
that morning, and
Mm-hmm.
he said exactly what you said. He's like, I'm like 230. I got like 18 pounds to go, and I'm like, how is this gonna happen?
Yeah, it was hell to watch, and he had to do it. I'm like, "Don't worry, I probably won't let you die. I used to watch ER as a kid."
Oh yeah, as
Yeah,
long as you've watched ER, especially the George Clooney seasons.
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
fine.
If you did that those early days, you really have a background in
I did
rehydrating
stay at a
someone.
Holiday Inn Express the night
Yeah.
before as well,
Yeah.
so we were set.
Oh no. So I have a question that begs to be asked. Whose idea was it for you to do that class? And
It was.
and why didn't
I
anyone
guess
talk
it
you
was.
out of it?
So it was. I guess that it was really kind of a group thing. It really started right after I turned pro. Right, I
Yep.
turned pro at the USA's, and I think Jose. I think we had went out to eat or something
Jose.
afterwards, and Jose was like, "Get on the scale real quick," and I stood on the scale, and I was like 218 or something, and he was like, "Dude, you could make 212. You could make 212." And I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, dude. You know what? You're gonna do 212 in Tampa."
And this
Yeah.
was
So the
Jose saying this?
Yeah,
yeah,
because he
that
was
so
coaching.
Yeah. There you go.
The following weekend after I turned pro, and Dusty, I mean, you remember this, me and Derek Lunsford, we both went down to Tampa right after we got our pro card, and Derek got first and I got second. And that show they had Sammy Al Haddad. He was like the shoe in to win. Like everyone had predicted him to win. And Derek and I went down there, and I mean, it was tough to make. It was still tough to make weight to 212, but at the time, I wasn't, coming. I wasn't having to
Oh,
come
you
down super far.
crazy guys.
Yeah,
I
we
know.
we waited a year and let him put on a bunch of muscle and then did it again.
No,
Yeah.
I think maybe it's me. I think maybe I'm the problem because I was, I'm 6'1" when I was younger. I've shrunk a bit, but I was always a super heavy. I mean, we didn't have that class at first. We just had heavyweight, but I was always a
Right.
heavyweight, right?
Right.
Mhm.
And then I went to my first nationals and weighed in as a heavyweight. And then later on that night, the judges decided to have a super class because the Americans had already just done that the year before. So the next day I showed up and they're like, "Hey, we actually changed your number. You're now a super heavyweight." And I was like, "Oh, cool." So I've never had to make weight.
Yeah.
So if someone says to me like, "Oh, I'm doing this class," and it's more than like 8 pounds away, I just instantly think, why? Why would you do that to yourself? And then I come across the odd guy who's so used to making weight, like they've done it their whole career,
Yep.
right? Like they made middleweights for a decade and then they made light heavyweights several times for nationals. And so, like, to them, they're like, "Oh, I should be 11 pounds off 2 days out. I should be able to make that no problem." I'm just like, oh, God. I never had to do it. So I've obviously had a lot of clients where I've made them make weight. But
Yep.
that's the one thing where, you kind of like to have that rule, like, I'm not going to make you do anything I didn't do.
Yeah.
Like that old, like, kind of coaching thing or whatever. But it's a total lie when it comes to
Yeah.
making weight because I've
Yeah.
never had to do it. So, yeah,
Yeah, I make my clients do it all the time. And if they bitch, I'm like, dude, I saw a guy lose 26 pounds in
I
six
saw it.
hours.
I saw it.
He didn't die. He was real
I
close, but
didn't
he
do it
didn't die.
myself, but I saw it.
He's family. It
Yeah.
hurt me like it hurt
Yeah,
him.
yeah, I felt it.
Well, I think the funny story behind all that was the very first time that I met Jose. I was with Dusty in Phoenix when Jose was doing the Phoenix Europa, and I had just competed as a light heavyweight at the USA's, I think, and we were working out at the Metroflex in Phoenix, and Jose's like, "So what weight class do you compete in?" And I said light heavy, and he didn't even believe me. He's like, "What? What? How did you make light heavy?" Like he thought it was crazy. He's like, "Dude, you should be a heavyweight all day long. You should be a heavyweight." Well, eventually I did move up to the heavyweights and I got my pro card. And it was funny because Jose was like, "No, no, I don't care if you weigh 205. I'm not going to suck you down to the light heavies. You need to be a heavy, so you'll just be 205. You'll just be light." And then once I became, pro, he was like, "Oh, dude, what's 8 pounds? You can make 212, like no big deal." I was like, "Wait a second. I thought we weren't going to go down like that, but it is what it is."
Hey, it always worked.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Old Derek Lunsford, little turd, not
Oh,
little
man.
anymore.
Chris, when I met you quite a few years ago at in Jersey at the Universe, and our mutual friend told me, he goes, you got to meet this guy. He just dropped like, what did you end up losing? 20, 21, 20 pounds?
It was 20 pounds in like 12 days, 10 days.
Right.
And I remember
Yeah.
seeing you backstage, and I leaned over to Brian and I was like, that dude looks like a walking skeleton. How did he make weight?
Oh,
And I shook your hand and you were like, hey.
I mean, I felt that too. And, like me and Jacob go way back. We've battled on stage together. We've been good friends for over a decade, and we went back on this because I've always been a light heavy. That's my IG, Chris Santamaria 198. That's what I've always weighed on stage. So like when I wasn't getting like the proper placings like I should in those national light heavies, I started kind of bouncing things off Jake, and I'm like, I don't know, man. What do you think? I think maybe I can make it. And he's like, oh yeah, you could definitely make it. But he's like, I want you to think about it, Chris. He's like, I want you to think about if you should. And then once I had gotten like fifth place at the universe, which you were talking about, Eric, I was like, fuck this. I'm going down to middleweights. I went immediately off stage, and her and my brother come out to see me. And before they can even say anything about how I looked, I said, I'm doing Masters Nationals and I'm going to make the middleweights. And they're both like, whoa, 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 wait a second here, wait a second.
You're
Like,
going the wrong way.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's give it a few days till you calm down. And
Middleweights, holy, bro, that's a long way from 198.
Yeah.
it was rough, dude. I mean, it is what it is. Like, I got the pro card for it. Is it the right class for me? Absolutely not. You know.
How
Um,
tall are you?
I'm just a hair over 5'5".
Okay, so you could. That was a hell of a squeeze, though.
It was, yeah, because normally, I mean, I competed. I was, 197, I think, at Universe, and then it was like, gosh, I wonder if I can squeeze into this class. And I told him, I'm like, if I can squeeze into this class, no one's gonna beat me.
Right.
So like when I did suck down, once I had actually stepped on stage, I was 193, you
Yeah,
know, so I was a legit light heavy against the middles.
that's a good game right there.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with
yeah,
that.
yeah.
There's
So
weight classes for a reason, so we can defy them.
yeah. Yep. But yeah, let's talk about some coaching because this brings coaching to mind. What do you guys think about coaching? Obviously, like we're all similar in age. Of course, back then it was basically just like Chad Nichols, it was Aceto, it was Hani.
Right.
That's it. Nowadays you don't even have to compete and you're a pro level coach. I mean, where has coaching gone and what do you guys see like some of the biggest problems with it?
I mean, the
Oh,
thing that comes to mind for me immediately is I think what Ron said earlier is actually accurate, which is it's really hard to walk someone through something you haven't done because yeah, you can write the diet, you can do it. And I'm not listen, you could be an excellent coach that's never competed. I'm not claiming you can't have the knowledge, but a lot of what we do when you're talking about people who you're pushing to the next level is getting their mindset locked.
Mhm.
And when you can literally tell them there's nothing you're going to that I'm asking you to do that I haven't done and more, and you can help them understand what's coming, how hard it's going to be, kind of keep their mindset in, it does give you an advantage because you've walked that walk. I haven't worked with many clients that have had to do what I've had to do to get really, really peeled. And it definitely allows me to deal with them on the emotional side because if you're not a natural bodybuilder with a psychotic mindset, it's hard. Whereas for me, at least, I think I can say for us, definitely for Jake and Ron, it didn't matter. It was you just do what you're supposed to do. The coach tells you what to do, you get it done. It never it never crossed your mind to worry or think about how you felt. I always tell people that feelings, I don't care. They go, I feel this way. I'm like, cool. Well, you look this way, so I don't really care how you feel.
Mhm.
right.
We're fine, keep going. And I think that helps the client when they know. I mean, they've seen your photos, they've seen what you've done, and that never goes away. I think that's why when you retire, it's easy to walk away because no one can take away what you've already done versus spouting off and saying, oh, you'll be fine. It's like, you haven't walked this. I mean, I don't talk to veterans about war affairs because I've never been in a war. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's hard. We were talking about on the last pod, like there has to be a level of trust and respect for your coach on some level. And it's like we were talking about when you lose that level of respect somewhere along the way, you kind of lost the coaching, because like where you were saying, Dusty, if you've done it, I can trust that I know I'm in good hands because he's done it.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Ron?
Yeah, I think that coaching used to be like I remember everyone that I ever worked with. You were hiring this person and they were going to help you get where you were trying to go. I don't remember ever thinking like, "Oh, I'm saved. I've hired a coach. I'm saved." Like, um, all my problems are solved. They
Right.
will have all the knowledge. Like, that sort of like everything is now up to them. I don't remember ever feeling that way. And I think some people hire a coach with that in mind now. Like, I already knew bodybuilding. I already knew what the show was going to entail. I already knew what to expect on stage. I already knew how to pose. I already studied bodybuilding. I'd already been to a bunch of shows. So I came at it from that point of view when I actually started and I already done my own diet for shows. So I was coming from a different place when I worked with a coach for the first time. The coach was there to help me not make mistakes and, advice and guide me. And I think that a lot of people hire a coach now, um, sort of like to do everything for them. Like they don't know anything yet. And it's a hard role for a coach to be your answer to everything. Some people like that though. They seem to enjoy being the person who has to have the answer for everything. And if that's a role that you like, that's fine. But I'm always also suspicious of people who think they have the answer for everything as well, right? So these coaches that have an answer for everything because that's their business. That's also weird to me too. Like I don't remember Chris Aceto and I ever talking about Diet Coke.
Never.
Like I don't think I ever asked him once, is it okay if I have a Diet Coke? I don't think I ever told him that I had a Diet Coke. I don't think it ever came up. I think he came to my room and I was sipping a Diet Coke. He didn't say anything. Like not every single micro factor was controlled by my coach. He also assumed I know what I'm doing
Yep.
to a degree. Does this make sense?
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah,
don't know where I'm going with
absolutely,
this,
absolutely.
Dusty, but there's
Yeah.
like, you're not just hiring someone to tell you everything. You're hiring someone to help you get where you're trying to go. There was just a different type of coaching. I don't know exactly how to put it, but that was like, it wasn't about the minutia. He already knew I knew what I'm doing,
Yep.
right? So we worked with each other. It was just a different style of thing. And I don't know if maybe that's the coach I try to be for people too, is like help them not make mistakes and, big picture and that sort of thing. I don't micromanage people. Like I see people, I mean, we've all seen this. Oh, you can't have that flavor, but you can have that flavor. Like, what? You can't have Diet Coke, but you can have Diet Pepsi? Like, there's the strangest things. We've all seen the most bizarre rules that some coaches have. And I just, um, I get lost in all that noise. I just have no interest in it.
We see it all the time, especially with the social media stuff. It's my way or the highway. I have all the answers. I have everything that you could possibly need. So you need to follow my box because I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. Where
Right.
we know a real coach is going to work with the athletes.
Right.
If you've got something going on, like you're drinking the Diet Coke or something like that, if you're in shape, I'm not going to give you shit about it. Clearly, you are in shape and you are peeled. So why change it if it's not broke?
Right. Right. And and we all know that if something was in need of being fixed, it probably wasn't whether I had a Diet Coke or not. Right? That's
Right.
Chris. That's where Chris would have started. Like, there's something not right here. Have you been drinking the Diet Coke?
Is that of a
That's
can or a bottle? Because that
right.
matters.
Have you been having canned Diet Coke? Because we need to talk about this. So yeah, it's just that's not where he would have started. He would have been started with like, are you dieting? Like,
Yeah.
that's where it would have started.
Speaking of, oh, go ahead.
So you mentioned like that when you came ready for a coach, you already had some knowledge, you had already done some research, you know the sport. Do you think there's a difference in the people hiring coaches now? Because I think there's been an evolution of even from when I started 10 years ago, so I'm newer than all of you. Like when I first started, I was like researching things, I was looking up things, I was very eager to learn without asking my coach everything.
Mhm.
But now, I mean, I have had to book hotels for clients. I have had to register for clients, book their TANs. And I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who wants to take this one first?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's so much wrong with this. I think that the interesting thing is just to give you an idea of how old school we think. I don't even know what shows my clients are doing. I just know the date.
Yeah, I don't put the name of the show in my app. I just have their name and their date.
I've run into clients at a show and they're like, "This is the show I'm doing." I'm like, "I'm here." Because I have my phone, like where everything is going on digitally, and they'll be like, "Oh, do you want to come to the room?" And I'm like, "No, we're good. Like everything is fine. It doesn't have to alter." So you know, I think in some of those ways too, it's in my opinion, you have to not enable people. Like if they came to me and they're paying and they're like, "I don't know how to register a tan," I'm like, "Well, figure it the fuck out." Like
Right.
it's not. Do you want me to also call in your dental appointment? Like I'm not going to do that. I mean, that's my wife does mine. I'm not doing it. But
Right.
you know, it's just a scenario where I think when you set up a form of ground rules in the beginning, because I do have a lot of people that are very much green, and that's okay. But I just give them an outline of things they need to know, like, hey, sauces with calories is a no. And if you
Right.
have a question within those, before you put anything on your food, let me know what it is. And I can say yes or no and control it, because the other problem is, I mean, Jake knows this, like I could get away with murder in prep. I used to like just take the no sugar added ketchup and all over my food and it would be fine. And I'd still be dropping. But I explained to clients, like, listen, what are you doing right now? And they would say, this is what I'm doing. I'm like, okay, fine. You can continue to do all of that, but you can't add anything. Because if all of a sudden your weights, starts to just sit still, and then I found out, well, you changed something that added 200 calories to your day.
Mhm.
Well, there's our problem. You know what I mean? But I think that a lot of it is just also common sense with people because the new era is there an easier way?
That's it.
And our era was what is the best way?
Yep.
Like I used to just remind people like, don't ask yourself if this will hurt me. Ask if it'll help you win. If it
Yeah.
won't help you win, you don't need it.
Not even the best way, Dusty. Our way.
Right.
Like you get to that point where you're like, I just want my glutes ripped. And just like I'll do anything. It's
Yeah.
our way.
And
Yeah.
I think that that's what's missing is for us, it was really simple. Like I remember, when Chris was, I'm 6 weeks out from a show and I'm peeled and I told him I want to get harder. And he's like, okay, it's going to be brutal. I'm like, listen, dude, it's 6 weeks. I can do anything for 6 weeks. Now, if I didn't know when the show was and you just said, okay, go on this hellacious diet, it might be hard. But as each
Right.
day goes by, I'm like, I'm one day closer. We're fine. We're
Right.
fine. And that's Ron knows this, and I think Jake does too. It's an old JJ Marsh thing. I worked with him for a show, and he took me down to white fish and green beans measured to kind of, it was old school way when you would really flatten out on purpose.
Mhm.
And he's like, all right, I want you to do 2 days of this. So I was like, okay. So I do 2 days, and it's brutal. I mean, I'm already in shape. And I come in and he's like, all right, ran me through the quarter turns. He goes, can you give me one more day? I was like, okay, cool. So I do another day. I come back, pose again. He goes, one more. Can you give me one more day? And I was like, okay. So I do one more, come back again, one more again.
Mm-hmm.
I get there and he's like, okay, we're going to start carbon up. And I said, okay, cool. I said, hey, Jay, I got to ask, what changed that you saw that you were waiting for on the one more day? He goes, oh, I knew we were doing 5 the whole time. I just didn't want to tell you because it would seem like a lot.
Yeah.
He's like, I wasn't seeing shit. I was just tearing you down because I knew giving you one day at a time, you could say it's just one more day, And I think that those little things went a long way because that was like my first time getting in real shape. And it definitely, the first time we all know is the hardest because you don't know that you're going to find out which muscles lift your feet off the ground. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, so that's the muscle that's responsible for the first part of my step. You know what I mean? When you're
Yeah.
that fatigued. But, I think that that's the difference. Like Ron was saying is we didn't care how.
Mhm.
I was just like, I want to be, and I tell my clients this, it's like, listen, I don't care if you're 162 pounds on stage and you're 5'9". If you're peeled out of your head, the super heavyweights respect you. They're like, dude, there's only
Yeah.
one way to get in that shape, and that's to walk slowly through hell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Let's see. I love the
Oh,
story when you were talking about, the Stairmaster, the treadmill, and you're like, if I even thought about quitting early, you would add the 5 extra minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like, who does that? Like no one's doing that these days.
Well, I think the problem is we knew, Ron, myself specifically, who you're going against. And I'm like, I
Mhm.
know these guys are better than me. So I have to be perfect in every way and hopefully catch them slipping. So it's the same thing I would think when I was training, and it's in hindsight, not all of it was smart, but people are like, so when did you start to get weaker? I'm like, never, because I mentally would not allow myself to. I'd go to the gym and you feel like shit and you're barely getting by. And you're like, this is the day the other guy skips a set, leaves a rep. And if I do these consistently over the course of a decade, I beat him.
Mhm.
And that just also allowed, I think the big thing that gets missed now is everyone's really attached to the result. You either win or you fail. That's bodybuilding 101. And to me, the reason I was always relaxed going into shows is I was like, I can't lose. I can only be beaten, because there's nothing I could have done better. So if you beat me, good for you,
Mhm.
And I feel like that's a missing link, because it really allows you to enjoy bodybuilding. I mean, Chris would laugh because he'd come into the room, he'd wake me literally. He'd come in like, all right, need you to pose for me real quick. So I'd get up, I'd pose. He'd like, all right, eat this. And I would eat and I'd go back to sleep. And he's like, you are the most relaxed bodybuilder. I'm like, I own a chain of stores. This is the most relaxing time of my life.
I'm on holidays.
Like, I have nothing to do but eat, pose, and sleep. Like, this is great. And then you see people backstage and they're like running around and they're amped up and they're pumping up early. When I did the junior nationals in 2010, I was sleeping in the back. And Sally from RX Muscle came and woke me up, and she's like, hey, I got to run up front. Would you mind just hitting one shot for me? And I was like, sure. So I like got up, I did a couple lateral raises, took my shirt off, hit one shot, and she goes, fuck, I see why you're relaxed. And I was like, yeah. And like guys were pumping up, getting oil. I went and laid down again. I'm like, I got time.
I learned that at my early shows. I remember like one of my early shows, the guy that won the overall, he wasn't like around. Like he just showed up, like they're like men's heavyweight, and then he just like showed up. And I was like, oh, I haven't seen him all morning. Like I don't even know where I was.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, this guy's gonna win. And then he like clearly won. And then at the night show too, he like wasn't around. Like I didn't see him anywhere. And then he just showed up for men's heavyweight. And so I said, I'm like, where have you been all day? And he's like, oh, I'm around the corner back there. There's like a hallway where no one's in, and that's where I am. Like he was separate from everyone. So I didn't see him around at all. He wasn't pumping up. He wasn't walking around with his, you know, oil on. He waited till like 5 minutes before stage and he just went, and I was like, oh, if you're ready, you're ready,
Yeah.
you know?
Cody Drober just did that at the Toronto Pro. We were backstage and I was like, I didn't see him. And all of a sudden he popped up and there he was. And we're like, oh shit, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll happen.
But I wanted to circle back real quick on the coaching thing. We're all in the same age brackets, mature, as we'll call
26.
it. When did people start glorifying coaches so much? Because like I'm from Burlingame, which is right by where Hani's from. So like I was always around people like Hani. I was around, Victor Conte when the whole Balco thing went around, all these other people. So big name, well established, very smart, respectable people. But no one gave them like this crazy, celebration for, being so smart and so amazing at being a coach. And now people are just like, I couldn't have done any of this without my coach and my team. Like, it was a dude sitting behind the computer doing what I'm doing right now. Like, it's
I
nothing special, but why are we? It's such a weirdly celebrated thing. And I don't really understand why. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm a coach. I will gladly accept the applause, but I didn't do any of the work. I gave guidance. I don't need the parade.
Yeah, I don't mean to like I never I well, Dusty knows this. I'm too nice. I don't mean to crap on anybody. But I never really got the and hey, you guys might have it, I don't know, but I never got any like Team Ron shirts.
Right.
It just wasn't my style because I'm like, well, I'm on their team.
Hmm.
That's how I
Yeah.
thought. I'm on her team and I'm on his team and I'm on his team. And so I just never went that route, you know what I mean? And then, I've regretted it the whole time. I see all these shirts being sold. I'm like, I want some of that. No, but yeah, I just never quite. That's how I always felt too. It's like, well, I'm like on that guy's team. Because like if that guy was fighting for like a world title, he wouldn't have my name on his shirt.
Yeah.
I'd have his name on my shirt. He's the
Right.
one fighting for a world title. Like if it was a UFC fight, they're not on like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just took it to mean that way. So I never went that route. And I I I think a lot of people too, they're just very excited about their coach, which is really cool. Like a lot of people that are new to this, I think they want that whole package experience.
Hmm.
Like you join because sometimes, let's face it, you join a coach, you're kind of joining a team or a culture, and all of a sudden there's all these other people that you're in contact with where you guys are all on the same team. So maybe their Instagram is super busy now, and there's all this, I don't know, there's just a lot going on in that space. And I don't know, maybe I'm just at the age demo that just doesn't give a shit about that stuff, you
Right.
know? But yeah.
I think it's a marketing thing too. Like a friend of mine that used to work for me in my stores, when he moved into coaching, and I give him all the credit in the world, the first thing he did was came up with a logo. He made the little like silky long robes for the girls, made hats, and he made a killing selling it. And they loved it because they like being part of it. I think and I'm with you, Ron. Like I still don't do that stuff, and my clients are asking me to. So I'm thinking about literally making them stuff and just giving it to them because they pay me money anyways, because they want it. They want to go in because I think in reverse they see everyone else that's on a team and they want that too. And I'm in the same mindset you are. I'm like, no, Stephanie, I'm on your team. And I used to always say that because people are like, oh, you're on Team Aceto. And I'm like, no, I'm on Team Dusty. And only one of us is going to win. And I hope it's me.
Right.
Like, never was, but I always hoped it was.
No, no.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. We're kind of like the opposite, I guess. I talked to a guy I was mentoring. This was a couple years ago, and like you were saying, Ron, like everyone's a team now, right? But we do market the team aspect because we have a huge team. But I feel like you're not a team unless the leaders actually back it up. So
Right.
it's like if
Yeah.
you don't feel like a team, if we're not available 24/7 for our clients, which we are, we do like a Christmas dinner, a Thanksgiving, we do like team lifts every 8 weeks. Like we're not only a team, we're a brand. Like this is
Right.
people see black and gold and they're like, oh, that's Team Crushing Limits. So anywhere you see black and gold, they're like, oh, Chris and Stephanie.
Are you guys primarily like local then with your people? Because mine are all over the globe.
We're all over.
We're all over,
Okay.
but we do have a
But
big,
you have enough people that can
yeah.
meet up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's
So
cool.
we'll
Yeah.
get, anywhere from 20 to 40 people locally, like Minneapolis,
Oh,
and
Hmm.
then
that's
we have
great.
another 50, 60 everywhere,
Yeah. I think that's a great, like I said, that's a great marketing thing. And I totally get it. And like I said, the the clients love it. Like they want to be part of it. They want to do all that stuff. And
Mhm,
I think that it really comes down to, and I mean, I've had clients leave because they want that. And
mhm.
that's fine. You know what I mean? And I think that it's kind of like coaching with anything. I wouldn't say everyone should work with Aceto. I think he's the best, but he might not be the best for you. You know what I mean? Because of his coaching style. Like, Kiss and I will text back and forth. I'll send him an email I get from someone that's this long, And I'll respond back with, I didn't read that. Tell me the things I need to know.
Right.
Because I don't like, because it'll be like, yeah, today was tough. I got a flat tire. And I'm like, shh, I don't need labor pains. Give me the baby. Let's go.
Right.
Like, what are we doing? But if you're going the other way, then you're a huge asset to somebody. If that's, I think that's the key. If that's what they want and that's a void you fill, it's fantastic, because I get it. I think you probably get people because of it. They're like, I want to be a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be on that team too. Whereas, and Ron and I share this, I used to love, because I don't go to a lot of shows. I mean, my clients know, if you want me to come, the flight, the hotel, I don't spend any money, which means your coaching fee just doubled. And I'll be there and I'm totally down, but I also will tell you, it will not change your result. I can bring you in on a cell phone. But if you want me, I'm definitely down. But I've always enjoyed, and Jake knows this, like I'd have a client in the Arizona show, and I didn't have a lot of local people do shows because they'd already kind of moved up. And I would show up at the show and someone would be like, you're here. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you have somebody? I'm like, yeah. And then my person would walk out and they go, and that's him. And I'm like, uh-huh. And then they win. And I used to always love bringing in one athlete, beating everyone, and going home.
That's
glad you had
fun.
30 people. I had one.
That's always fun.
That's awesome.
It's hard to pull off, but I love that.
But yeah,
That's how I do
get
mine.
the marketing side, because I do think it's smart. I mean, like I said, I watched my guy and I'm like, and he went from no clients and he didn't have a lot of experience. I was helping him learn how to coach while he had a roster. And I'm like, hey, and they all loved him. And a lot of people, they're not going into this to win. They want the whole experience. They want to do the thing. Like you said, they want to do the Christmas dinner and the team workouts. And I think that that's an awesome thing. If your coach's personality and the client's personality match, that's a good thing. Whereas for me, my clients are like, I'd like to get a workout. I'm like, it's $125 an hour. I don't leave my house for less.
Yeah.
Ron's smiling because he knows it's fucking true.
I like that. I like that policy. The older you get, the more it takes you to get off your couch.
There's people out there. There's people out there.
All right, mate.
I was going to say, kind of piggybacking off what Stephanie had talked about like the people that you work with nowadays, the clients, and then even talking a little, even going back to what Ron was talking about and Dusty and talking about coaches. One of the things that I think just stands out more than anything, the athletes today, everyone is looking for that end result. Nobody wants to put in the hard work, right? I mean, we've all seen people get on social media and talk about, look at how much body fat I've dropped and the changes I'm making, and I'm not doing any cardio, right? And in my mind, I'm like, every time I watched a Jay Cutler DVD or a Ronnie Coleman DVD or whatever, they were banging away on the step mill. Right? Like I never saw anybody win Mr. Olympia and not do cardio, right?
Yep.
And so I feel like there's like a whole slew of people in the sport now that it's that bright, shiny object, right? So they see the coach who has a big following and a lot of athletes, and some of the athletes are probably placing well because they're just genetically gifted, right? Like there's just some people out there that don't have to diet very hard. They don't have to maybe do a whole lot, and they already look pretty nutty. And so you get some of that happening, and so somebody sees that and they're like, I want to be a part of that. The thing is they become a part of it, but then you have to, like you said, you got to hold their hand now because they don't even know how to schedule an appointment. Most of them probably don't even know how to properly work out, right? Like whenever I was living in Arizona, I mean, Dusty remembers this. I walked up talking about going to a local show. I walked up to Dusty and I'm like, hey man, so look, I don't have a back. Like it doesn't even exist. And I need one of those things in order to be a better competitor. So how about I pay you to train me on back? And it ended up being like, no, you're not going to pay me. You're just going to start working out with me. And I quickly realized, and Dusty remembers, like from the very first workout on years later, I was like, I really don't know what I'm doing because what I'm doing now is nothing like I used to do. And I may have won a few shows, but what I'm doing now is something that I've never done in my life. But you could see the results month after month, month after month, month after month. And it wasn't easy. Chris, I mean, I kind of was sharing stories with you, like my time training with Dusty. I was explaining to Chris some of the trifecta exercises, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
dude, those suck. Like, those suck. Like, that's not a normal lift for anybody out there, but it works, right? Like, it works. And I don't care who you are. I promise you, if you've never done it, please do it because it works. And I just feel like there's a lot of people that, I mean, shit, Dusty, I think a lot of people nowadays, they wouldn't even be able to hang with you in the gym. Like, they wouldn't even try to hang. And in my mind, I'm like, wait, this is getting me better. I don't care if this sucks or if it hurts. I'm getting better and I'm going to win and I'm going to get receive the end result that I want. And, Jose was doing my prep. So Jose was telling me how much food to eat and how much cardio to do. And that was it. I was living my life, doing whatever I needed. Like, hey, I got to do my cardio, got to diet. And then I would go to the gym and train with Dusty. And I would show up to the gym. And most of the time, I didn't even know what the hell we were going to do. I'm like, oh, it's arm day. And then Dusty's like, all right, we're going to do this exercise that I did 15 years ago. Watch this. And I'm like, oh my God, my triceps just ripped off the bone. But like I said, it worked. And I think the thing that I see from a distance now, when I get on social media and go to look at the stuff that people are posting, yeah, we're glorifying coaches because everybody has a platform now. 15 years ago, if you were going to go glorify your coach, you get on getbig.com or musclemayhem.net and you would be like, oh my, this. But nowadays with Facebook and Instagram the way it is, anybody can get on there and glorify their coach. But I think probably they should spend less time glorifying their coach and more time researching and learning what they can do to get better, because I really believe that there's probably literally 90% of the people in the competitive fitness industry that still don't even know how to properly engage and activate muscles when they go in to train. There's
Yeah.
still a lot of people that are probably training back and pulling with their biceps and they haven't quite figured it out yet. And I think, like I said, I think the biggest thing is a lot of people, are falling short on their research and also on their work ethic, because I have an entire box. Just saw it the other day, and it said DVDs. I was emptying out a storage locker, and Nicole's like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's my DVDs." She's like, "A bunch of porn," and I was like, "No, it's actually every fucking DVD that Jay Cutler ever produced and made. I've watched them all the Ronnie Coleman ones, everyone. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
the guy that would sit in my house during my downtime and watch guys literally eat food and go to the gym and train. And I'm like, what are they eating? How much are they eating? I need to do that too, right?
Right.
Like, what are they? So, like, I was already like trying to teach myself and learn from these other guys. And then for me, it was easy. Like, when I met Dusty, he was like the biggest thing in Arizona. And I'm like, well, that's who I need to be working out with because that guy knows what he's doing. Oh, by the way, my coach knows what he's doing too because he just won the Arnold Classic. So, like, I felt like that was just an easy thing, but the biggest thing I see now is not everyone has the same mentality and mindset of like, hey, I got to do whatever I need to do to get bigger. I don't care who my coach is. I need someone to tell me exactly what I need to do so I can stop doing the shit that I don't need to do. And that's the biggest thing I really think, kind of piggybacking off what everyone kind of said and stuff like that. I was just thinking to myself, I agree with all of you guys, and more importantly, I just think that the athletes in general now, everyone is looking for the path of least resistance. Like, I want to get where that person is, but nobody wants to put in the hard work. Like, the hard work. Everyone's trying to find an easier way. Just, Ron talking about Diet Cokes, and I'm thinking, gosh, I've had people hit me up before, right when you send them a diet. They're like, hey, so when is my cheat meal? And can I have diet sodas? And I'm like, dude, how about you start the diet for a day and prove to me that you can follow my program for one day, and then we'll start talking about where you can branch off at. I just think
Right.
it's just a mentality across the board in general, across society. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it.
I definitely noticed the shift when things became easy to obtain as far as PEDs and the big push with the peptides and everything. Man, back in the day, you had to have a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy, and now everyone's like, I got a debit card, I'll get whatever I want. But they're
Yeah.
just like, well, I can just take more Tren and I'll be fine.
Right.
Like, dude, you used to have to do work.
Hmm.
Well, I think the other thing is there, because it's so publicized. Like, I have clients that ask me about peptides and stuff. I'm like, I've never done that. I've never heard of that. And you're not at a stage where we need to start looking for magic tricks. Instead, we need to, like Jake was saying, just get into the grind. I mean, when
Yeah.
Jake started with me, his legs were ridiculous. And I was like, you have crazy legs. Tell me about your training. I'm like, oh, we're going to make them really fucking nuts now. If that's all you're doing to get your legs to look like that, I can't imagine what they're going to be. And Jake will tell you, the first time we trained legs, and then we went to meet afterwards. And he was driving a Jeep at the time. And I pull up next to him. He gets out, and I see him jump out, and I just see him disappear. And then I look underneath his Jeep. I'm like, you good? He's like, I'm good. And he's on the ground. He's like, my legs gave out. I'm like, I could see that.
Yeah,
And
110 degrees on the hot pavement in Arizona. Suck, suck.
Oh
but
man.
he was willing even, and he had better legs than I did at that point.
Mhm.
But I was
Yeah.
like, I yelled at the dogs. I was like, that proved that he understood, like, as good as you are, we can be better, and I think that that's the key. If for anybody who's listening, it's like, don't look for the easy way, look for the best way. What will give me the best results? I think the thing that got us old timers through is when we started training, we didn't have a plan. We'd go to the gym and it's like, how can we kick the shit out of ourselves today? And I mean, we went way too far.
Yeah.
But if that's your baseline, then once you have a brain and a little bit of understanding, you can come down from that, but implement the same mentality on a single set. Because we used to go to the gym and like you'd get done with legs on your plan. You're like, I think I got more in me. What else should we do? And you'd be there for 2.5 hours, which was a complete waste of time. But it did get that mentality. You were here to kill yourself.
Dusty's dogs just love it when he talks hard training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all good. Yeah, one thing I'll tell you, like, it's such a weird culture, like we talk about, guys, and like one thing we've kind of seen lately, which is so strange because any sport, like I wanted to be an Olympic sprinter, at 5'5" is just never going to happen. But I tried until I knew, okay, I was not built to be an Olympic sprinter. And that's okay, that's perfectly fine. But when you hire a coach and you give constructive criticism, you know, this is obviously we're talking about competitors where your body is being judged. Hey, I think you need to work on this and this. And when people aren't open to that constructive criticism, like it's kind of like a hurt feelings thing, and then they quit the team. It's just so strange to me because like you guys know, like growing up, you're playing soccer, football, and it's like, hey, you either get cut from the team or hey, you're not going to start. You're not going to be the quarterback. Like, so it's like in all these other sports, it's okay, but in bodybuilding, it's like there's some type of like belief that like everyone can be Ronnie Coleman or a Phil Heath versus like no, it's going to be all of these things, especially genetics.
I think
Yeah.
it's the only sport where you walk in and the first, like before anyone's competed, they want to be a pro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like no one picks up a baseball bat on day one and goes, MLB,
yeah,
here I come. I'm 26. I'm going to become a pro baseball. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That part is missing. And some of it's because, I mean, it is a more feasible goal. But I think the other thing is, and you want to filter your clientele accordingly. Like I actually deal in most of my clients are actually Gen Pop. I
Mhm.
love just helping people change their life. That's my primary thing. And the athletes, if they're competing, they understand what they're getting, which is, if you hire me, then I want to win. And that doesn't mean necessarily win the show. You may not have the genetics, but take you as far as you can. And I think that a lot of that's just also a change in culture and how things are done. When I hired JJ Marsh, I was referred to him, and I texted him and I said, "Hey, I need your address so I can come over to your place, because you should just drive there and have him look." And he goes, "Okay, cool. If I think you can win, you can work with me. If not, I'm not doing this." I was like, cool. Go to his house, run through my quarter turns, hit my shots, and I just look at him. He goes, "See you tomorrow, 5 a.m." Full conversation. I was like, I guess I passed the first test, So it's a harder knocks. I mean, I was never afraid of what my coach would say at a hockey game. I was afraid of what my dad was going to say in the parking lot.
Right. That reminds me of something a coach said to me once. I hired a guy to help me diet for the 99 Albertus. It was like the provincial show here, and it's a tough show. Like, you win that show, you go to nationals, and you probably do pretty good. And I remember I posed for him, and it was 15 weeks out, and I had just been sick. I had just been violently ill for like a week, and I come out of this like horrible stupor. And I remember I was down like 10 pounds, and I went to see him, and I was like, I was just sick for a whole week, but I feel good. I'm ready to go. And I posed for him, and he goes, "If you do exactly what I tell you, you win the overall." And I was like, okay. And then I did exactly what he told me for 15 weeks, and I won the overall. And I just remember that as a coach, just how he was about that. Like, he was very clear. You have to do exactly as I tell you. And I remember that cemented it for me. I was like, okay, that's a good rule. You know, I'll
Well,
just do what you tell me. And it worked out. So, you know,
Ron,
it's
tell them the Ronnie Chad story.
oh yeah. I mean, that's because Chad told me this himself, and then I actually read it in a magazine at one point. But I asked Chad when I worked with him. We used to chat on the phone sometimes, and I said, "Hey, the year Ronnie won the Olympia, like, I mean, because he was telling me stories about how, like, no one was talking about Ronnie 98, right? Everyone's talking about Flex, everyone's talking about everyone else. No one's talking about Ronnie. And he picks up Tom Prince and someone else at the airport, I think, and he had a fresh set of photos from Ronnie. And it was like 6 weeks out, and he gave them the photos in the car, and they were looking at the photos, and they were like, "Oh my God, oh my God!" Like, Ronnie might win the Olympia, and this was like the first people that ever thought that were in that car. Anyways, I said to Chad, did Ronnie say anything to you afterwards? Like, did you ask him like any questions? And he goes, "Oh yeah." As soon as we got back to the hotel room, I said, "Hey, if there's anything you did that I didn't tell you to do, you need to tell me now because I need to know." And Ronnie looked at him and he goes, "Huh, never even crossed my mind." And I just remember thinking like that's why Ronnie was so easy for him to coach. He was so coachable. Like, Ronnie wouldn't change anything if you didn't tell him to change it. Like, he'd do the same workout for 25 years, which is what he did. Right? Just think of how routine he was, right? Sitting in that squad car, like all that
Oh
shit.
man,
Didn't even
man.
occur to him. Didn't even occur to him to not follow the plan. Like, what do you mean, like something you didn't tell me to do? Huh? Didn't even occur to me. And I just remember thinking that was like kind of the bottom line.
That's awesome, man.
Hmm.
This is actually a perfect segue. I figured I wasn't sure where it was going to fit in the pod, but I know you talk about it quite a bit, Ron, where I feel like you and I have probably gone to the most Olympias here. I could be wrong, but I
Just
was
by default of my age, maybe.
there.
You just called yourselves old
Yeah,
AF.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I was literally dead center, third row for pretty much the whole Coleman era, minus like 98,
Oh,
99,
wow. Yeah.
and the whole Phil era. But
Okay.
I'm going to show you guys some '03 pictures taken from my camera, and you guys, we'll see what you think.
Oh, this is
But
great.
it's kind of the perfect segue here.
This
Uh,
is when this is when Ronnie was like 287 on
Yeah,
stage, huh? Oh
287. Yeah.
26.
gosh,
287. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll see some
man.
greats here, of course. Obviously, we got Lavroni. You
With
guys see
hair.
that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you took these photos.
Yeah, so this is from obviously no cell phones back then.
Yeah.
You had a
So we
real
got
camera.
Uh,
Lavroni, Gunter,
Yep.
Darum,
During
of course,
Troy.
Troy. There's Troy again. Here's where we get into the battle here, the rivalry.
There was no battle that year.
Yeah. Yeah, here's the lineup like before they start the first call out.
Oh, these are wild.
Look at this.
Developed out of photomat.
Yeah, Lavroni again. I mean, actually appreciate Dexter's condition. Like this has to be one of his best showings in '03.
Yeah, you look good.
He always looked good.
Yeah. There's the press conference, a little
Oh,
dark.
Lee Priest with the long hair.
That was the show he basically just showed up for.
Yeah.
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 Ooh,
Art.
Art Atwood.
Yeah.
He was a
Man,
beast.
I met Art
gosh.
Atwood at that show. That's where I met Art. And we had a long chat about the boards because he was on the boards. Everyone kind of knew him.
Hmm.
Art Atwood Pro, remember?
Yep.
And then he died like very
Yeah, not very long after
relatively
that.
soon after
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
such a good dude, man. There's Prince.
Oh, yeah.
Look at all the hair you
Oh,
had.
look at
I
you,
know.
Chris. You had hair.
It's not that's not a good look.
Oh, that's a good look.
Man.
You're fine. You're fine.
Good shot of Gunter.
Oh, man.
I mean, look at the sheer size here.
These don't even do
Yeah.
justice from being there, though.
No,
No.
no.
When
But
he
I love,
walked out, Chris, it was so funny because I'm sitting there and the guy that was in front of me just started laughing
Yeah.
because it was like he couldn't process what he was seeing. And none of us could. We were like, I don't what he was 240 something last year and he's 280 something now.
Yeah.
I mean, mind blowing.
yeah, I will never
Shouldn't have pissed
forget.
him off.
Oh, look at that shot. I'll never forget prejudging. They called them out in order, right? And Ronnie comes out by himself and does the whole ridiculous set of call outs. And
Hmm.
the crowd's laughing and like just it's off the hook, right? And then the next guy out is Darum Charles. And so Darum walks out, stands middle stage, and you hear Lonnie, or not Lonnie, who was the guy at the time on the mic.
Oh, that would have been D'Amelia, right?
Yeah, D'Amelia. You hear
Yeah.
D'Amelia. He's like, "Thank you, Darum. In center stage, please." And he's getting ready to call his poses, and the guy sitting now. I thought it might have been Linda Murray's husband, but I don't want to falsely give him an identity. But I remember thinking that it was him, and he yells out, damn, Darum, you look good, but I need 5 minutes to forget what I just saw." And And like I'm telling you, everyone heard. Like it was like that dead silent prejudging moment.
Yeah.
And Darum's standing there and he's just about to call the front double bicep, and that guy says that. And everyone, including Darum, like Darum literally like laughs on stage. And everyone just laughs. We're like, oh God, what a brutal thing to say to Darum. But Darum laughed at it because he's like, what are you gonna do?
Understood.
Understood. But it was just ugh,
Yeah,
crush.
the side leg was just ridiculous. I remember he's doing the quarter turns. And it looked like a Clydesdale's leg.
And I remember he was marching when they turned to the
Yeah.
back, and he turned to the
Yeah.
back. He started marching and flexing his glutes.
Yep.
Oh man,
Yeah. Before like the famous MD cover,
Yeah.
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Damn,
What a
Darum, you look
Gosh.
good.
day.
Yeah, I figured
Yeah,
you guys
there it is.
would
That's the
appreciate
shot to end that on.
that.
What is
Yeah,
that?
Crazy.
yeah. Good times.
Oh
That's
yeah.
why I always laugh when people say like, "Oh, I don't know if Ronnie has the size to hang with Samson." I'm like, "You weren't there."
Yeah.
That reminds me of the good old days of coming home from Vegas with like 3 rolls of film, and you're not sure what's on them. You might have
Yeah,
handed your camera to somebody at some point in the night, and you're like, kind of like this.
we'll look at him one time.
Yeah, by yourself. Look at them one. You got to look at them by
Yeah.
yourself first. Go through them first. Holy shit, what's on these?
Let's
Yeah,
get rid of these five. All right, we're good to
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah.
One thing we like to ask people too, because obviously, you guys have been to all different shows. We've been to different shows, Olympia a million times. Who is the most impressive bodybuilder you've seen in person? Obviously, we were just talking about Ronnie '03, but it can also be
On
in the
stage or
gym too.
general?
Yeah, it can be in the gym too. So in general or on stage.
Uh, well, I think the biggest bodybuilder I ever saw, as far as like size of arms, size, like amount of muscle on his body and how big he looked, was like a little later, like 2008 at the Olympia, and Marcus Rule was there off season.
Hmm.
And he was at working at whatever booth he was at that had the football jerseys on him.
I remember that one.
And he wasn't in the show that year. I remember talking to him for a while and just like thinking, like, as I'm talking to him, I'm looking at him and I was just thinking, you're the biggest bodybuilder I've ever seen in my life. I don't think anyone's ever had more muscle than you on your body. It was
Mhm.
insane. And he said he weighed 350 pounds. I
Gosh.
remember he told me his kilos, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm doing the math. And that's like 300, that's like 346 or something, utterly ridiculous.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was my same answer. So there you go.
I love
Same
Marcus
exact
Rule.
thing. When I saw him in person, I was like, and you know, in videos and you know, on stage, but standing in front of him, you're just like, and at the time, I was very big and I looked like
Yeah.
his son.
I would have
Like,
been 300 pounds back then, but yeah,
Jay,
different genetic
Jay was
code.
also that way though. I told the story on our show before, but he came to my store once and it was 3 weeks before the USA's. And he's like, I was talking to him and he was like, yeah, I actually haven't been training and I'm off of everything. And he was like 285. And then I was young at this point. And in my head, I'm like, this guy's so full of shit, like whatever, you're a monster. And then I went to the USA's 3 weeks later and I saw him there. And he told me he was starting his Olympia prep the next day. And I saw him there and I walked over and like my mind was exploding. And I said, Jay, what do you weigh? And he said 315. And it was harder. And I was like, understood. You went from
Yeah.
285 to 315 in literal muscle in 3 weeks. And I was like, so you were off. My brain, I mean, because Ron will tell you this, and I mean, you've seen him too. Like Jay is 2 people wide. His shoulders are just, you couldn't even understand. I think the closest I've seen to Jay as far as just structure is actually Ian, where the shoulders are just so wide. You're like, it doesn't math out. I feel bad for his suit maker. You're like, how does one get a suit made like that? But yeah, Jay was definitely impressive too in his prime when he'd be on. You're just mind boggled to look at him.
Yeah.
Crazy.
In 2005, I was working backstage for the John Sherman Classic in Houston, Texas. And it was about maybe 4 weeks after the Olympia. At the time, this show was roughly 4 to 5 weeks after the Olympia every year. And so Ronnie was coming off of win number, what was that, like 6, I think at the time, maybe in
Right.
'05. And he always would get him and John go way back. He would always guest pose every year. They would have him there. And so I just so happened that year I got a phone call. Someone was like, hey, we really need some help backstage. You've done a few shows. Can you help? Can you help us out? And I said, sure. So I was kind of working with the main expediter. He had the headset on and he would be like, hey, can you go to the back and get these numbers and have them come up? So we're about to go into intermission, and Ronnie comes walking up to the back, and somebody goes, "Hey, Ronnie needs oil. Can somebody oil him?" And everybody's looking around, and then somebody turned to me. They're like, "Jake, can you oil him?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'll oil him." So I walked over, and he's standing there in his posing trunks, and he puts his arms out, and I mean, I go to grab his quads, and I'm just like, "What in the fuck is this?" Like I'm literally touching it, like literally touching this guy. And I was like, "Ron, how much you weigh right now?" He goes, 325. And I said, "My God," like most people didn't even know what to say to him because everybody was just standing there taking a picture and whatnot. And when he walked out on stage, I think Jay, obviously Jay has a little bit of a different look. They were both really big. Like Dusty said, Jay was just so damn wide, you couldn't see past him. But Ronnie was just, there was so much muscle. And he was still, even at 325 pounds, he was still in incredible shape. But when he walked out on the stage, he was just so big that he didn't even really start hitting poses. He was literally just walking around like raising the roof the whole time. And then after a few minutes, he finally started hitting some poses. And I just remember sitting there because I was started off backstage and then I walked around the side door to get on the first row of seating, kind of behind the judges to watch him. And I just remember sitting there thinking to myself, like, I just can't believe that a human being can actually achieve this level of muscularity and conditioning and like not be dead. I mean, literally.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't believe he was 300, every bit of 325. And he was just like his legs were it was it I mean, you'd have thought I was in California painting up a redwood, like I had just never seen legs that big in my life. And like I said, I think probably I mean shit, Marcus Rule, I couldn't even imagine seeing him when he was in his prime. That was probably been
Yeah.
just about as nutty as Ronnie, man.
The second best part of Marcus Rowe is that he had this jean jacket that he would always wear. He had like a famous denim jacket. Like you'd see Marcus Rowe be like, "Oh, he's wearing his jean jacket." Like he had it for years. And every time I saw him, he had that fucking denim jacket. And I remember just being in like awe of that denim jacket. Like I saw it multiple times. I'm sure he still has it folded up somewhere in a box.
That's awesome. That thing must have been made for like a rhinoceros or
Well, it
something,
was just well, plus it had that like funny sort of it's like what you think Europeans think Americans are,
Right.
right? So it's like Marcus got the jean jacket and he's smoking Marlboros out on the front steps of the Mandalay Bay.
Yep.
He's smoking the Marlboros and he's wearing the jean jacket and it's like, is this like a mutated German version of what they think that like a cool guy is? Like they're thinking of Fonzie and famous actors James Dean and that sort of thing. They're smoking Marlboros and wearing their jean jackets. And here's Marcus, like, it was like it's just awesome.
It probably came over
yeah.
and was like, yes, yippee
Yeah,
ki
yeah. Just needs like a Yankees hat. I don't know.
Man, I remember this was 2000, 2006, the first time I met Cutler, and I was just starting to really get my stride in my own bodybuilding. And I remember this so clearly because it was such a unique moment. He's huge. He's guest posing at the Contra Costa, which is one of the John Lindsay production shows back in the day. And I'm a smidge over 280 pounds. And I'm walking up to him like, oh, that's Cutler. Damn, that guy's really big. And he looked over and then did like a double take. And I was like, oh, Cutler looked at me twice. I must look extra big today. And then I had seen Phil the year that he had placed third at the Olympia, guest posing at another John Lindsay show. And I was like, wow, arms like that. And if you've never met Phil, he has some of the biggest hands you've ever seen. Like when you go to shake his hand, you're like, I'm not a man anymore.
That's funny.
But I met Nick Walker, and that level of freak factor is a whole new level of whoa. Because arms that big just don't. It's like looking at SpongeBob, like the cartoon with the fake arms. It's like it doesn't make any sense. Like arms are not supposed to be that big, and he was the nicest guy.
We had him on yesterday.
Oh wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, we just had Nick on. He was great.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
more impressed
super,
by his
super good
mother.
people.
You gotta go.
I don't know about the most impressive or just the most like what stuck out is 2016. I went with a friend. She competed at the Pittsburgh Pro-Ams at the amateur side, and that's when they still had everybody would come and guest pose.
Hmm.
And this was when it was my first year competing. Like I was only a year into competing. And so I was just soaking it all up. And that year, um, Kai guest posed, Branch.
Jay.
No, Jay
They
didn't
always.
guest pose. Jay and Phil were there, and we
Hmm.
were at the same hotel, and we were going to go up to our room, and the elevator opened, and Jay and Phil walk out, and we froze, and the elevator closed, and we never got on it.
I love it.
That must happen to them all the time. Whenever we're together, that people just
Yeah.
don't get on the elevator.
Um, why am I blanking on the name?
That's
Rami.
funny.
Rami guest
Rami. Oh
pose.
God,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
And he was massive. So I have
Yeah.
all these pictures, and like that was when my arms were first coming out. Sergio Olivier Jr.
Hmm.
Yeah.
yes, was there. It was just a massive lineup, and it just stuck out. It was so fun because I was just soaking everything in and getting to
That's a
meet.
hell of a beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially your first time being around all those people.
Um, I mean, now we've been to so many Olympias. Now the meet and greet, we're kind of like, eh.
Yeah, we don't go.
Yeah.
If I need you, I'll shoot you a text.
Yeah, for me, it was definitely 2013 Phil. I think when he came out, I had seen, like I said, I had seen Ronnie. I had the same seat,
Yeah.
basically third row, dead center for, I went so many years alone. I mean, this is how diehard I am. I literally went alone for all those years because, you know, I couldn't miss it. So when I got to see Ronnie, and then when Phil came out, it was just like, it was so round, and people were just like looking around and they're like, what am I looking at here?
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
Phil, yeah, Phil is to me the most, how everyone like he was like kind of the bad guy,
right.
Hmm.
which was partially Generation Iron and partially
Yeah.
just the nature of things. Um, and I've said this many times, and Dusty and I've talked about it many times, but in hindsight, I think he was underappreciated, underrespected, and as amazing and mind-boggling as he was, I don't think people thought he was good enough. Like, I don't think people understood how good Phil Heath was. It
Yeah.
was almost like they're sort of, people love to hate the champ sometimes, and he got a real heavy dose of that.
Mhm.
And in hindsight now, I mean, shit. 2013,
Rear double. Ooh.
yeah,
I mean,
Ooh.
they literally said Phil Heath back in line. And
Yeah.
yeah,
people are like, wait, so the show's over then, right? And then, yeah, show's over.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
They
yeah,
like
didn't
you
need
were
to see him
saying,
again.
yeah.
yeah,
Like you were saying, Ron, like I think obviously it's a blessing to be there, for those historic moments. But it's kind of like everything after we haven't really seen that level yet.
Yeah.
right,
I feel like we've gotten a taste, like we're huge Hottie fans.
right.
So it's like, yeah, Hottie last year at the Arnold, it's like, all right, holy shit, this is incredible.
Right.
And I feel like he should have several more Olympias under his belt. But it's kind of like, wait, when you go back to those 2011, 2013, it's like this is different level.
Mhm. I think
Yeah,
it's different too. Like with Jay and Ronnie, there was like this, you know,
Rivalry.
for years it was the two of them, and then Kai and Phil. We don't have like these two that are constantly battling back and forth.
Yeah.
It kind
right.
of brings, a fun, dramatic aspect to it.
Yeah. We like the fact though that now that's why Ron and I love going again is because you don't know who's going to win.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
when Ronnie was winning, it was by such a landslide that it wasn't exciting for me. Like
Mhm.
after '03, I was like, who cares? And then Jay, when he lost in '08, when he came back in '09, that's probably like the most memorable stage experience for me because I was always a huge Jay fan. Like I met him and he actually helped me with marketing and stuff. He understood
Mhm.
where I fit in the industry and was more than willing to help. And when he walked out, like I got chills because he like walked out and he just stopped
Yeah.
and he was like, "You're welcome." You know what I mean? Like the show ended before he even made it to center stage. But I think that that's the difference is now it's exciting because we go and we're like, there's four guys that could
Mhm.
win. And there might be a fifth we're not thinking of that just comes out of nowhere. You know,
Yeah.
after the Ronnie thing and even after the Jay thing, getting to second in 01 from ninth, you realize that as much as you're analyzing these top guys, twice in history, someone just showed up and we went, oh, I wasn't thinking about Jay in 01. I wasn't thinking about Ronnie in 98. So who knows who that could be now? And because there's no Dorian, Ronnie, Phil running the gamut for as long as they want to, we really don't know. I mean, we get yelled at our podcast for even suggesting who might win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. People get very
I
upset.
don't know.
Yeah.
Just do not tell anybody that Hottie can't win. You can get death threats. I promise you.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. I get that being a figure pro every year. I'm like, okay, just give it to Sydney.
Yeah, exactly. You
We
almost are
already
glad
know.
she's done so you can be like, now who could win?
I know now where are they gonna go with it?
hmm Yeah, and it's the same now, in my opinion, for women's bodybuilding. Like, Drea will win until she's done.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like, she's just so far ahead. It's, Ron and I, 2 years ago at the Olympia, we were asking about the 212 with Sean, with Karita and Keon. And we were talking to one of the judges. He goes, and we go, okay, well, what about the women's? And he goes, and walked away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Very clear.
You guys going? Ron, you going this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been to every Olympia since '02, except for I think two of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the tradition will continue this year, and we'll see where I wind up. The seats always vary a lot. It
Yes.
depends on how, it just depends. Mutant always gets like some free seats,
Hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then, sometimes Dusty and I will get one of those tickets, and sometimes those tickets are great, and other
Yeah.
times they're like, they're okay.
Hmm.
So
Our
we
Arnold
kind of
seats are
take what we
always
get.
awesome.
Well, they're free, so they're awesome. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll grab a set.
Yeah. We're not paying at this stage. So,
Well, hey, times have changed. We got these giant screens now. Those
yep.
big 4K screens, man, did they change the experience of going to a show now? Because I remember when your seat used to like absolutely matter.
Mhm.
Like when you're back in the day when your seat mattered, it was like, oh, they're so far away. I think they look good,
Yeah.
and the screens weren't that great. And now it's just like, wow. So,
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely see you guys there.
No
yeah.
doubt.
Yeah. Well, as we wrap up, I kind of want to leave the viewers. We were touching a little bit about it. I want you guys to talk about like there are levels to this thing, right? So let's just say from the local level to the national level to winning your pro card and beyond. What are the differences like in the mindset from someone trying to win a local level, a pro card, a pro show?
Go ahead, Ron.
Well, the mindset. Well, I mean, generally I tell people their number one focus should be conditioning. So just because that's what you're trying to do when you get ready for a show, right? You've already been working out for a while, so number one focus should be conditioning if you have to pick one. And but I think that the idea of what that means changes as you move up the ladder. I think when people start out, they sort of think, okay, I need to be 180. So that means I need to lose this many pounds a week for this many weeks, and I'll be 180, and I'll be where I need to be. And that is true mathematically, but the mindset of how it should happen changes as they go through the ladder. The later on when you're competing at a higher level, it's more about getting in shape early and dialing it in for the show. It's not so much about timing it to be ready at the show, if that's a mindset difference. Do you know what I mean? I think beginners sort of have that, like, I'll do this and I'll be ready, but you realize that there's more to it than that. There's like a lot of tweaking, and the longer you're in shape, the harder you get, and all that sort of stuff. And I think the more experienced people see prep differently. They see the change from off season to prep isn't as big, that sort of thing. More of a, and then they also see the whole year as part of the process instead of just the prep. As I think newer competitors, it's all about the prep.
Mhm.
But, more veteran people, it's about the whole year as a whole. And that's something I think becomes more apparent as you move up the ladder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mirror that, especially the off season portion. I think, and you all know this, I've got athletes to this day that come to me at 12 weeks out. I'm like, all right, I want to do a show. And I'm like, cool. Then I get the body you brought me,
Yeah.
and I have 12 weeks, no matter what that means. Whereas when you're working with someone like Chris I was with Chris year round once we started. And he would let me, he wasn't as on top of things, but he had his finger on the pulse the whole time, making sure we are heading in the right direction, to make sure that I was where he wanted to be at 20 weeks out, to come in correctly. But as far as the mindset, I think two things, and they actually are complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Number one is, every day you're in prep. If you're going to compete again, then you're in prep. Whether it's, you might be going up, but it's for that goal. And I tell people this all the time. When I retired, the hardest thing was realizing I had to pick what I wanted to look like just because I wanted to look like it. Whereas when I was in prep, how I looked was all based on the next show, which, if you saw me and I was blown out big and chubby and whatever, that meant I was getting bigger. And if I was peeled, it meant I had a show coming. And when you retire, you have to just go, shit, I've never really thought about what I looked like. Like, it's a big thing now with social media. People are like, oh, I don't want to get too heavy. I'm like, it never crossed my mind to care. It was like, what do I need to do to be as big as possible at the next show to make the most improvements? But as far as mindset and prep, I think that's an area where people should change their mindset. If you're getting ready and you're shooting for your first overall at the local show, that is your Olympia. It should be the same mindset. I don't care if I'm prepping you for the New York Pro or the Arkansas local state show. We are going in with everything we have. And I think that the competitors need to adopt that mindset, because that is how you win at every level. That is the best you ever be. I mean, my first overall was a big deal. I think I was more excited winning my first overall than when I won my pro card,
Right.
because
Yeah.
I was prepping for this huge thing. And I remember, like, I'm the last man standing. And I think also competitors need to realize, when they're on this chase for pro status or Olympia wins or whatever, take a step back and remember there are 300 people doing your local show, and 5 of them win the overall. 5. So winning that show is a big ass deal, and don't downgrade that. And then when you go to the next level, that's a big deal. Don't downgrade that. Like, I think a lot of people are living in the future, and it takes away their joy from bodybuilding. Getting ready and winning that title and having my friends and family there was incredible. And it actually was just a trophy and walk away. But I think you want to have that mindset going in, and you'll take it more seriously, and really bring your very best, and also hopefully stay present and enjoy that moment, because you don't want to constantly be looking forward to the next thing. I mean, when I
No.
turned pro, I wasn't excited when I turned pro, because I just knew I was the worst professional bodybuilder in the world.
Yeah.
And hey, those cheap trophies look good on that little cardboard box coffee table.
Exactly. It's the nicest thing in your house.
Nicest thing in your house at one point. Yeah.
I've told Chris several times, like, I almost wish I would have been amateur a little longer. Like, it was fun. Like, I only ever won one overall, and then I went to the national shows, and then I was pro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, man, I always wanted to win a sword, which I just found out on one of the other podcasts. Eric told us they don't do swords anymore.
No, someone had an accident. I don't know what happened, but something happened.
Yeah.
No more swords.
But, like, that feeling of being the last person standing, like, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to do it again.
Yeah, I don't think people realize that having a long amateur career is good for you. I
Hmm.
mean, I knew when I started bodybuilding, I wasn't, the goal was to be pro, and I knew my career essentially ended when that happened. I was never going to be at that level, but I knew that was a feasible goal. And, you know, needing 4 years at the pro qualifying level is the reason that I still have a name in the industry, because people followed me and I was in the mix for all those years. There's definitely something to be said for that. Same with Ron. Like, when you've battled it out for a long time, you're known.
Hmm.
Anytime Ron's name was on a sheet, I can promise you the judges were like, here comes Partlow. How's he look? And because they knew it was coming, and there's something to be said for that. And everyone is so focused on that pro card. And I don't think most people realize that for the majority of you, that's when it all ends.
So
Yeah.
true. Hmm.
Yeah, the retirement card.
Yep.
Well, as Dusty knows, I did what, 8 USAs and 2 North Americans. It took me a while to get my pro card, but Dusty, I'm sure you remember it was it 2014 after the USAs, when I got tasted pretty good.
Hmm.
It was not pretty, and we were driving to Awatuki Golds to train legs, and you were like, "Hey, I got a challenge for you," and I'm like, "What is this challenge?" And you said, I want to see you put as much dedication and commitment into your off season as you did this last prep, because I think if you do that, you're going to be okay. And at the time, I would do a show, and then after the show was over, I'd spend the next couple of weeks just kind of like enjoying my life a little bit. Like, all right, I'm not prepping, I'm not doing a show. I'm just going to go live.
None
And
of
then I
that.
kind of you fall off the wagon, you start eating crap food, and the next thing you know, 2 months go by, and you're like, God, I look like crap, I feel like crap. And then, there's something that can be said, at the time when Dusty made that challenge to me, I didn't even really know what to expect. I was just like, all right. And just like he was just saying, like, once he told me that, I immediately realized before I even got out of the car, I'm like, so I'm in prep every day now. Like there's no more off days. Like I
Right.
prep my ass off for 20 weeks for this show. There's 52 weeks in a year. I got 32 more weeks of prepping, man. Like I might
Yeah.
not be low body fat, but I have to continue to eat a certain amount of food every day, train a certain way. And it was just repetitive. And then I quickly realized, like, I probably could have turned pro a little bit faster had I did that shit a long time ago, but I was kind of hard-headed, and obviously at the time I didn't have like I said, as I mentioned before, I didn't have the guidance that I needed, right? I needed someone to tell me like, hey man, like you're not doing 100% because you're only putting 100% into your prep. What about your off season? Oh shit, like that. Now somebody's calling me out, right? I had two choices. I could have told Dusty, well, dude, you can kick rocks. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. Or you can do it the way I did it. And I had so much respect for Dusty. I actually looked up to him, and, I knew that all the information that he was giving me was coming directly from a point of experience and just a general care. Like, hey, dude, if you do this, this will work. So in my mind, I'm just like, hey, you know what? Dusty says I need to do this, so I'm going to start doing this. And like I said, it worked. It worked out. Obviously, it worked out, but it was a little bit of a tough pill for me to swallow because it was the first time in my life. Well, it's not actually the first time. It's probably this. Well, no, it was the first time. I had another time when I had another friend kind of call me out and bust my balls for not being maybe as dedicated as I should have been earlier in the game. But yeah, that was the first time someone kind of like, didn't say anything bad about my physique, but literally questioned like my whole mindset and mentality. And ever since that day, I look back now and I'm like, I'm so glad that he told me that, because had he not told me that, I don't even know what would have happened. I mean, I really can't even guess what would have happened. I'd probably still be an amateur and I'd have did 25 USAs, like been worth
It
it
goes
anyway.
goes to show the bodybuilding mentality. He tells you essentially what he told you was
Hmm.
if you dedicate yourself every day, all year, you'll be all right. And you, as a bodybuilder, thought that was a good deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
You
did.
can
Like,
throw
I
away
just
the
gotta
rest of your
suffer
life.
all the time and I'll be all right.
Yeah, it'd be all right, man.
Be all right. An all right pro.
Yeah,
Wow. Yes. That's how much we loved it, right? That's
I
how much we
know,
loved
man.
it.
I
You're like, you'll
know.
be all right. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm in.
Yeah, man.
Sold. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
Crazy.
like for me, that was an easy sell because no one was telling me to up the
Right.
dosages, right? They were just
Right.
saying, "Hey, get more dedicated." I'm like, I don't,
Hey,
I
it's great
definitely don't
advice.
want to, like that was easy. Like I can do that all day long. Then when you start telling me, like, "Hey, I want you to put the turkey baster in," I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, I don't want to have a heart attack." It
Right, right. Yeah. No, it was perfect timing. It was
was
a good
perfect. It's
era.
perfect, man. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Oh.
How about you, Eric? We'll wrap up with you.
I don't have anything to add to the mindset, but I did want to tell the story to Dusty. So initially, I was going to tell you a gigantic thank you, but then the more I thought about it, I don't know if it's a thank you. So I'll tell you the story and then you can
I
decide.
get a lot
Fuck
of
you.
those.
This is similar to what an ex-wife said to him once.
Yeah. Which one?
So I was gonna say thank you, but
Yeah.
in hindsight, not so sure about the thank you.
So back in the day, doing my bodybuilding thing, I'm living the bodybuilding dream. I got my empty cardboard box table, I got my one bowl, I'm killing it. So I stumble across your world in the YouTube and I'm watching Cooking with Dusty and my world opens up. I'm like, such simple recipes, so delicious, no more gray boiled chicken for me. So I start having some fun with it. It's going great. I meet this girl and I go to her house and I'm like, I'm going to cook you some food. So I cook her one of your meals and I can tell you exactly what it was. I grabbed big old steak. I got garlic. I didn't do the minced garlic. I ended up just cutting it because they didn't have it. And then I did the Montreal and then I did the soy sauce, low sodium. I cook it. She is just melted. She's like, oh God. Fast forward, this is now my wife.
Oh.
Now, I say that it was supposed to be a thank you, but then the more I thought about it, she has developed this infatuation with going to this boutique. Ron, I don't know if you have these in Canada, but we have a boutique around here called Target, and it cost me a tremendous amount of money. So initially I was thinking thank you, but now I'm like, you know what? That cardboard box lifestyle is looking pretty good.
Yes.
I didn't mean for it to be marriage advice, but it worked out that way.
It worked.
Now
It
you,
worked
now you
out.
guys understand my tier of them.
Yes.
Love it.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Well, boys,
Amazing.
this has been great.
Yeah, we appreciate you having us on.
Yeah, thank you
Thank you
guys
so
for coming
much.
on.
Appreciate it.
Always
Sorry, I was a
chat
few
with
minutes
you.
late. I apologize.
No, it was
Do
worth
it for the
filling.
horses. We got the story.
Yeah.
if you dedicate yourself to the next podcast,
I'm gonna be
you'll be an
okay.
okay
You'll
podcast.
be
I'm
okay.
gonna be okay.
All right,
Yeah.
boys.
Thanks for having us on. Thanks
We'll
for
see you
having me
guys
on. I
next time.
appreciate it.
You.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Later, guys.
Bye.